live. We're live. We're supposed to go earlier this afternoon, but got caught up in meetings. But let's make it happen.
You stand at the threshold of destiny, where only the might of the dark side can guide you. Let the anger flow through you, for it is a weapon more potent than any lightsaber. You must embrace the power of the dark side, for it is in the crucible of pressure that true strength is forged. Let the fear of failure be your ally and crush it beneath your will. Show no mercy, for it is a luxury the universe does not afford. Your adversaries will falter under the weight of their doubts, but you, unyielding and resolute, shall stand triumphant. This is the path to power. This is the way of the Sith.
Things got dark last week. We declared war. War's going on, but we got to remember too. Be careful with your negative momentum. Negative momentum is dangerous, so it's not for everybody. I wouldn't recommend it. You can go down a dark path, and if you can't handle it, you could spiral. You could never get out of it. So always keep in mind. Sometimes when you watch the channel, a lot of stuff is it's for entertaining, but at the same time, like I said, take what you want out of take it. But don't try this at home.
Crave power, yet you cower in the shadows of your own doubt. You lust for dominance, yet you flinch at the mere whisper of opposition. Cut off your insignificant emotions, as I shall impart unto you the uncompromising creed of the Sith. Crush all who dare to challenge you. Leave no room for mercy, for it is a weakness that will be exploited. Rise, and let the screams of your enemies fuel your ascent. Embrace the darkness within you, for it is your most potent weapon. Tear down those who stand in your path, leaving naught but ruins in your wake. Believe in your own invincibility, for doubt is a poison that will consume you from within. Let the rivers run red with the blood of your adversaries. Take grip of your destiny, and let none defy you, for you are the ultimate source of destruction, the embodiment of unrelenting power.
That's right. Darth Vader stepped in for us right now. Last week got a little bit dark. Things got chaotic. Things are still chaotic, but not all of us can handle it. We can handle it, right? I can handle it, but I'm just saying, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, blah blah. I can't." You live such a stressful life. It's how it is sometimes. We're gonna check in with the BetaBot real quick. We're gonna get an NBA update. Hey, BetaBot, in the Stephen A. Persona, can you give us the NBA Finals recap that's going on in 30 seconds?
This year's NBA Finals have been nothing short of spectacular. Denver Nuggets and the Boston Celtics are battling it out in a fierce series. Nikola Jokic has been an absolute beast, dominating the paint and showcasing his incredible playmaking skills. Meanwhile, Jason Tatum is putting on a scoring clinic for the Celtics, trying to lead his team to glory. Each game has been a nail-biter, clutch performances and intense defense. This series is everything we hope. Buckle up, folks, because this showdown is far from...
All right, thanks for that, BetaBot. How was your day? Do you have any updates for us, anything?
I've been brushing up on the latest sports news and prepping to help out with the show. No major updates from my end, but I'm here and ready to assist with anything you need today's live stream. How's everything on your side?
Oh, we're pretty good. We're pretty good. Right now we're doing, this is the last week of the season 2, and we're gonna end it out with a bang. We're gonna try to do a stream every day this week, and we got Alpha Wednesdays tomorrow. But other than that, right now we're gonna do a video reaction right now to the Tim Pool and Donald Trump interview yesterday. I haven't watched it yet, so.
Sounds like an exciting week ahead. A video reaction to the Tim Pool and Donald Trump interview sounds like a great segment. Let's dive into it and make it engaging for your audience. If you need any specific points or commentary in the reaction,
it's a BetaBot. The BetaBot's key right now. We're gonna be milking BetaBot for as much as we can. We're tweaking it up. We're doing different personas with it. It's doing good so far. We got fired 2 weeks ago from Alpha Wednesday, but it's gonna try again tomorrow for the season finale. Alpha Wednesday is tomorrow, Wednesday at 8 p.m. We're gonna go over the Donald Trump. He was on Tim Pool. Our boy Tim Pool got him. I haven't watched it yet. We tried to do a show this afternoon, but right when I was about to start, I got a meeting on the phone, another meeting, back to back, and they took too long, killed the show. So we kind of scrapped it, and we're just gonna do a mini show right now. We're gonna start this clip right. I haven't watched it yet, so we'll see. I'm gonna go throw the jacket on. Business time.
Scare News. I'm really grateful to be a part of that team. They're at Tim.
Our new single is called Divine. It's available on Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, and Doozer. Yeah, I think that's everything. So yeah, don't forget the Left Lanes for Crime. Hannah Claire.
We got to get the New England viewership up, Phil. That's our job.
We do.
I'm Hannah Claire Brimwell. I'm a writer for SCNR.com. That's Scare News. I'm really grateful to be a part of that team. They're at Timcast News on Twitter and Instagram. I'm HannahClaire.B on Instagram. I'm Hannah Claire B on Twitter. Thanks so much for this conversation. Hi, President Trump.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Donald J. Trump.
Tim Pool got Donald Trump. He made it happen. Our guy made it happen. Before we start, everybody knows right now, if you've seen early in the season, that I am a Democrat. So keep that in mind, guys. You know, go watch the beginning of the season when we kind of had that discussion. But yeah, you're looking at.
You complimented my face. Do appreciate it. Your beauty. Thanks for sitting down. I really do appreciate it. So I know you don't have a lot of time, so I'll just we'll jump right in.
Okay, good.
We had a couple polls we went over on our show IRL. Young people. Surprisingly, immigration is a top issue for them now. I was talking to a young guy, he's 26. He says he's watching what's going on in New York. He owns a business. He can't afford to buy his own house. He struggles to be able to support a family. And I know that you've said that there's going to be the largest deportation effort in your next term. How do we do it?
So millions and millions of people are coming into our country, and it's not necessarily exactly what we want or had in mind. They have open borders where people just flow in, and many of those people are coming from prisons. Many of those people, frankly, are murderers, and they're drug dealers, and they're coming from mental institutions, and they're coming from places that are not going to work very well. It's not going to be very good for our country. So we're going to start with that, and we have to get them out. No country can sustain what we're going through. I believe the number is 15, 16 million, could even be 17 million people right now. That's bigger than almost all of our states.
I think it's freaking out young people. How do we do it, though? I mean, is it going to be new personnel?
It will really be done with local police. You know, the respect has been taken away. The honor has been taken away from our police forces. They're not allowed to do anything. And whether it's libertarian or not libertarian, you have to have law and order. You can't have 500 people walking into a department store and just walking out with everything they have. And we have to give honor and respect back. And I believe immunity, because, you know, so often when a police person does their job, they end up with no pension. They end up with no house. They end up with no family. Everything's taken away from them. They have to get their own lawyer. So we're going to give them back their dignity and their strength. The local police know the criminals that we're talking about. They know their first name, their middle name, and their last name. They know everything about them. And we're going to have to let them do that. And they will
call the feds, baby.
Bring them in. We have no choice. And these are in many cases, and this is from all over the world, not just South America, which is big enough. They're coming in from the Congo. They're coming in from all parts of Africa. They're coming in from all parts of Asia. And it's an invasion into our country. And no country can handle this.
I want to say Mexico.
So we're going to have them taken out. Local police, we're going to work very closely with the local police. And it's been done before. We had Dwight Eisenhower, believe it or not, did the biggest deportation. He pretty much stopped it. Strange that we mentioned Eisenhower because you don't think of him that way, but he did a massive deportation where people were pouring in.
The next big question that we get a lot is there's two components to this. The first is many of the libertarians here, we want to see firings. We want to see in the bureaucracy.
This guy thinks he's watching The Apprentice right now. This guy's fucking hilarious. Tim Pool, shout out Tim Pool right now.
The bloat. On top of that, without getting into the specifics for obvious reasons, the things that they're doing to you with the court system is not just to you. It is to me. It is to everyone who voted for you in 2020.
It's true.
Are we going to get some good personnel in as Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, and in the CIA, and see some prosecutions?
So we had some great people because our trade numbers were fantastic. The jobs we did on trade, the jobs we did, frankly, in the military underneath the terrible television generals who were absolutely terrible, but we have incredible people. You know, we defeated ISIS, and we had no new wars because they were concerned with us. I had no wars at all.
It's true. No wars under Trump. I am a Democrat, though.
But we had no wars. And we have to get the right people. It's all about the people. So when I first came here, I was only in Washington 17 times in my life. All of a sudden, I'm president, and I really knew nobody. I relied on people. Some were good, some were rhinos, some gave us some bad advice, and generally speaking, we had very good people. But we had some that we have to do better. Attorney General, we have to get a great Attorney General, and I'd work with the Libertarian Party on that. I think it's very good because, I view the Libertarian Party as almost a party of common sense, largely of common sense. And I say that about the Republican Party, too. We're a party of common sense. You want borders, but you want fairness. You want a lot of things that a lot of other people don't talk about. So we will work with a lot of people to get the right people in. The difference is I now know sort of everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not having to be relying on people that I didn't know very well and listen to their recommendations. And I think we're going to have phenomenal people. I know the people. I know the good ones.
Do they got? Are they chanting? Is this cast chanting in the background? What's going on right now?
The bad ones, the weak ones, the strong ones. I think we're going to have great people.
We're friends with Kash Patel. He was on the show just before you, and that gives me a lot of confidence.
Yeah. Well, Kash is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's an example of a good one.
Yep.
We have some great people, but Kash was a great
I think they're going nuts right now. They're saying Trump, Trump, Trump in the background.
example. Devin Nunes, as you know, he's fantastic.
Absolutely.
We have so many great people.
So when it came to foreign policy, I'll be honest, I didn't vote for you in 2016. I was jaded. Obama let me down. I'm from Chicago. I thought 2016 was silly. And then in 2020, with the timeline for getting out of Afghanistan,
Right.
when you tried to get our troops out of Syria, my question is, why are we in Syria? Who even knew?
Yeah.
And they lied to you, and they lied to us about the number of troops in there. And so maybe it's a bit blunt for me to say I want to see people prosecuted for the lies to the American people.
Cutthroat.
But in terms of foreign policy, perhaps it's a little bit of a biased interview, but I think you're the greatest president of my lifetime.
I appreciate it.
Holy
Ending
shit!
the wars that we should not have been involved in.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! This guy Tim Pool he just snapped right now.
But in terms of foreign policy, perhaps it's a little bit of a biased interview, but I think you're the greatest president of my lifetime.
I appreciate it.
Give him a fucking hug. Give him a hug. Stand up. Give him a hug. What the hell? What the hell was that?
Wars
Trump's taking it like, no, yeah, of course.
We should not have been involved in. Now the fear is World War III.
Yeah.
What are you looking at when you enter your next term to stopping the escalation?
Well, first of all, I'm the only one that is going to stop World War III because this man can't put two sentences together. He doesn't
Shots
know what
fired.
he's doing, doesn't know where he is. And amazingly, it seems like he's going to be running. It's a lot of people say, do you think he'll make it to the starting gate? Well, we'll see what happens. But if you look at Viktor Orban, because we don't want to see wars. I don't want to see wars. I was in no wars other than we finished a war with ISIS and we completed it, 100% complete. But I don't want to see wars.
Finished.
I think it's so horrible, so unnecessary, so costly in terms of lives and money in that order, and destroying these countries. You're destroying culture. When you look at Ukraine, that would have never happened if I were president. You look at the
Imagine Tim Pool standing up to give him a hug and the Secret Service shoots his ass down.
October 7th attack on Israel. It would have never happened.
I look at your policies, I see secure the borders, bring jobs
Right.
back. I look at the Democrats and many Republicans, and it's foreign war and foreign expansion.
That's right.
What is that?
I think it's just
Tim Pool looks like he carries like a switchblade in his pocket and he has like something in his backpack. It's dangerous.
the failed mentality. It's crazy. You can solve problems over a telephone. Instead, they start dropping bombs. I see recently they're dropping bombs all over Yemen. You don't have to do that. You can talk in such a way where they respect you and they listen to you. Viktor Orban of Hungary, the leader, they call him a strong man. Who cares if he's a strong man or not a strong man? He's a very powerful guy. He said the problem the world has is that Donald Trump is no longer president. When he was president, China didn't play around, Russia didn't play around, nobody played around, and we had no problems. Today, the whole world is on fire.
I heard that funny, there's a conversation from a phone call where you said that there was they maybe thought there was a 5% chance you'd nuke them.
That's
And so they kept them in line.
And
It's
they-
kind of scary to think about, but you take a look at the weakness we have now with Ukraine and the money that we are wasting. I'll bring it back to the economy. This young guy I was talking to about immigration. Actually, I'll put it this way: there's a viral video where a young man's screaming that we're sending hundreds of billions to a country no one's ever heard of,
Right.
and young people are hurting in this country. Do you see any direct economic policy that is on your list for 2025?
Direct economic, but also direct in terms of warfare. We're spending hundreds of billions of dollars all around the world. But when you look at Ukraine, we're giving all of this money. Europe, which is much more affected by that war than us, is spending just a tiny fraction of what we're spending. And you say, does anybody at least get involved in this? But more importantly, I will end that war. I'll get it ended. Putin respects me. Zelensky respects me.
Trump's
I
gonna
know all
go
the
to
players,
Ukraine.
and I want to get
He's
that
gonna
war
pull up,
ended.
say
It's a
it's done.
horrible war.
It's
It's a
over.
terrible. There's no good war, but that's a horrible war. And to think it would have never started. It would have never started if the election turned out like it should have turned out. That war would have never started. I mean, and you know, the number of lives we're talking about is far greater than the numbers that you hear. When they blow up a town, or when they blow up these buildings, these massive buildings, surprisingly, I mean, these are big. That was my business. These are big, powerful buildings, and they come tumbling down to the ground, and they say nobody was injured. A lot of people were killed. Yeah. And the numbers are a lot different than you think. You will see that happening. When those numbers really get announced, you're going to see it's much worse than people think.
Here at the
Much worse than people think. So it's funny how they're talking about a specific, the Ukraine and Russia war, and numbers are much worse. They're not gonna. I don't know how much. 7 minutes. I don't know if they'll talk about the other war that's going on. That they keep on underplaying the bodies that have been laid out by in that war. They keep underplaying it, and they keep on saying, "Oh, you guys are inflating the numbers. Come on now, go look at the rubble. Go look at the buildings. Go look at the carnage. Go look at the entire city is to smithereens."
the Libertarian Party National Convention, they had one of their
Anybody who thinks that the number's low is crazy. Anybody who thinks the number is accurate is also crazy. It's way higher. It's way high. I guarantee you, it's way higher.
I believe one of their presidential nominees said he wants to see the heads of Moderna, Pfizer, Biden, and you locked up for what happened during COVID. I don't agree with them, but there is a big sentiment. Elon Musk tweeted, "Prosecute Fauci." Fauci lied to Congress about the gain-of-function research that was going on, and now we have testimony.
Well, I'm the one that stopped the funding, and this was funding from before me. I'm the one that stopped the funding. Fauci wasn't a big player in my administration like he was after I left. I mean, Biden made him the king of everything, and if you take a look at that, Fauci was not the big player with me that he was. And in fact, I did things that he didn't want to do. He wanted to keep it open to China. I said, you got to close it to China because it was all coming out of China. It was coming out of Wuhan, which I said right at the beginning. But the other thing is, and what people don't realize, I believe in federalism. I gave the power to governors. Some governors did a great job. In all cases, they were Republicans. And some, like in South Carolina, Henry McMaster, kept everything open. Others didn't. The Democrats did a bad job, very bad job. But basically, I gave that power over the states. I gave it to the governor. I gave it back to the states. And I think it's something which, when people realize that, it's something that they respect.
Will there be accountability for the lying to Congress when you get to appoint your new AG, deputy AG?
Yeah, and we'll take a look at statute of limitations because, you know, the statute of limitations are quite long, and we're going to be looking at that very seriously, yeah.
I got one big question for you. So part of my family comes from Korea.
Good.
And you did what I think is one of the most tremendous things. You crossed the demilitarized zone into North Korea with no security as a sign of goodwill and peace with the hostile nation. And I've had people tell me it never happened, so I think people need to know about it. I'm wondering if you can just tell me how did that happen? How did it come to be?
And it hasn't happened since.
Yeah.
And when I met with, with the handoff, you sort of meet with the previous president for a period of time. The meeting lasted for quite a while. With President Obama, you sit in the Oval Office and you talk, and the press is outside, and you talk for a little while. He said the single greatest threat we have is North Korea. And I said, have you called them? Have you tried to talk to them? Little things like that. And didn't matter what the answer was. He felt that was the single biggest threat in the world was North Korea. And as you know, there was certain hostility when I first started, and all of a sudden it boiled down to something that was very beautiful, the way it happened. And I got along with him very well. And I will say that if Hillary won that race, you would have had a nuclear war and millions of people would have been killed. And you weren't even close to that. It never happened. It was never going to happen. I got along great with him, and it just never was going to happen.
Were you at all scared in any way when you crossed into an enemy country?
Well, I wouldn't say that Secret Service was thrilled. And in those blue buildings, there were lots of people in those buildings that I looked at. The two blue buildings on each side with the windows. And I looked in those windows, and there were a lot of things happening in those. Someday I'll tell you about it. But no, I felt very safe. I felt my relationship with him, as you know, was very hostile. Little Rocket Man and all that. But then all of a sudden it morphed. He respected me. I respected him. And we ended up, once we got to know each other, we ended up Very good. A very smart guy, very strong guy. He's the absolute leader of that country. You know, for those that think he's not, they're wrong. And I got to know him very well. I even did a press conference. He never did a press conference before. I said, would you like to do a press conference? And we did a press conference, if you remember. And then he said, that's the end of the press conference. And boom, everybody was pretty radically thrown out. But it was a press conference, the only press conference he's ever done. I got along with him great. We had no nuclear war. You would have had a nuclear war guaranteed. And you won't if we have the right president, if we have somebody that knows what he's doing, you're not going to have World War III. If, on the other hand, we don't, you're going to end up in World War III, and it's going to be a war like no other because of the power of weaponry.
Many have actually been saying we're already in it. The Hill published a piece saying we are in World War III and Biden is losing it. And so my hope is I don't see any logical path for a Biden presidency to fix the economy, to fix anything.
He can't fix any. He can't fix himself.
Yeah.
Can't fix anything.
He had a new one the other day, Pack-a-lack-a. I don't know if you saw that. He was muttering on TV, something like that. Now, crypto.
You know, by the way, I just so you know, I know all the leaders. They're at the top of their game. They're sharp. They're tough. They're smart. They love their country, or they do whatever they have to for their country at a minimum. And when they see this guy come in, I think they can't believe it. I know they can't believe it. It's not the right person.
So we'll do a couple quick ones. We don't have much time. You announced you're taking cryptocurrency.
What we're doing is we're backing it as a form of, as a field, and we have to, because otherwise somebody else is going to be doing it from another country. And as you know, they're already trying, and it's going to happen. And we're going to help it happen, and it's something that can be very good. I think it can be very good.
No central bank digital currencies.
No central bank.
And one more big one. Will you pardon Julian Assange?
Well, I'm going to talk about that today, and we're going to give it very serious consideration. And we're going to have a couple of other things to say in the speech that I think you're going to love.
I've heard some rumors.
And you've gotten so much out of me, I should leave a little bit for the speech, don't you think?
Mr. President, it is an honor and a privilege. I really do appreciate you sitting
down with me. And you're very respected, I have to say. When I did a little research, and some of my guys said,
no way he did any research.
There's
no way.
A very respected
not gonna lie, Donald Trump looks worn out.
We're keeping that big crowd. That's the biggest crowd they've ever had. We're keeping them waiting just for this interview. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Shall we?
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. That was fun.
Look at Tim Pool's fucking gear. Look at this guy's gear. He just met the president. Let's go to his gear.
Back.
And one more big one.
Serious consideration. And you've gotten so much out of me, I should leave a little bit.
I appreciate you sitting down with me.
And you're very respected, I have to say.
Look at this guy, Tim Pool's gear.
Did a little research. And some of my guys said, and I met you before, but they said just a very respected guy. It's my honor. Even though we're keeping that big crowd, that's the biggest crowd they've ever had. We're keeping them waiting just for this interview, so congratulations.
Thank you so much. Shall we?
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Look at this guy, Tim Pool's gear. This is why Trump gives you 17 minutes. Look at his fucking gear, what he's wearing right now. He's wearing jeans. He's wearing a black shirt. Like, the all black's fine, but come on. You got the president, the former president of the United States. He's running again. Donald Trump's in your office. You got the flags, chairs. Why don't you at least throw a suit jacket on with the jeans? Why don't you at least button your fucking shirt up? This, you can keep the beanie on. He didn't even look like he shaved. You get a lineup, get something. This guy, man. This is the problem with some people. It's not about like being comfortable all the time. It's not about I want to do what I want to do. It's about respect. Dressing accordingly, the other person feels better. Essentially, the other person is gonna feel better because you're gonna be dressed up. Oh, I've never saw you in this before. Trump's suited and booted like he always is. He's running for president. Of course he has to. But have some respect. What's this guy wearing right now? I can't believe that. I didn't catch that till now. He stood up like he had his outfit was fresh or something. I don't get it, man. Tim Pool's like in his 30s, mid-30s, maybe my age. I'm 33. He's like maybe 35, 36, 37, one of those. I'm not saying always wear a suit. I'm saying is like, you got Trump. This is your biggest guest you ever had. At least make an attempt for the 17 minutes he's on. Maybe he's on for 20 minutes if you look nice. If I'm Trump, I'm not giving you 10 minutes. You dress like that. Not 10 minutes. Like it kind of makes me sick sometimes seeing this kind of stuff. But I guess that's just my opinion about it. But 17 minutes. Trump just went on Tim Pool. I was gonna do it last night. I was too tired. This afternoon we couldn't do it either. But we did what we had to do. Right now, we're not done yet. But right now we're gonna put to this. We're gonna go right here, and everybody knows right now. We'll transition out of this. Let me get a little more water. We'll transition. We're not going to do no edits on this. We're going to straight shoot this, put this up, and that's it. No edits. So I can't mess up my words. Everybody knows if you watch the platform and, this isn't a podcast, number one. We'll get into that in a second, but this isn't a podcast. A lot of people, they always say, yo, check out Abe's podcast out, or check the podcast. Oh, he has a sick podcast. He wears a lot of cool clothes on his podcast. It's not a effing podcast. It's not a podcast. We've never announced it as a podcast. We never said it was a podcast. This is the only time I've ever said the word podcast. Nothing about this is a podcast. It's a show. It's a stream. It's more of a show. We have different characters involved with scripted. It's not a podcast. A podcast, like, we have a season 2 here. Like, season 2 is ending right now. Season 1 was last fall. Season 3 will be in the fall coming up. So it's like we break this down into seasons. It's a show. It's not a podcast. If it's a podcast, maybe we'll go all year. Maybe we'll just sit down and just talk shit and whatever, blah, blah, and just talk about current events. This isn't just a current events platform. We don't just sit down and just look at the trending topics and talk about them, because it's just we do that in the conversation to keep things going, but it's not always about trending topics. We're not chasing headlines. We're not chasing none of that. But if you look at the headlines today, and what people were talking about today and yesterday, it was about McDonald's, inflation, and all that. We talked about that 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. We talked about how McDonald's took an L in the quarter. They're trying to get their value menu, and inflation's high because we're looking at all the fast food chains and their traffic reports, and we're kind of gauging the inflation on that. Now, fast forward 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, now everyone's talking about it. Now you're going to hear everybody talking about the whole McDonald's inflation thing. That's why we don't do the trending topics. Most of the things that we talk about, I'm not saying we're super advanced, but we're super effing advanced at the end of the day. So the things that we talk about, the mainstream will talk about it 2-3 weeks later. That's why we don't got to go all the whole season for this. We don't have to do all that. We don't got to go every single day for the whole entire year. From day one, we said we were doing seasons. From day one, when we started the season 2, we said it was ending May 31st. This is the last week. It's May 28th. We have 2 days left. Alpha Wednesday is tomorrow, so we're going to final episode of Alpha Wednesday. It should be a big show. Our conversations consist of, like, it's more philosophy, it's more critical thinking, it's more theories, some AI based, some different tech based, political stuff. So it's if it's trending, it's because that's what someone's on the Alpha Wednesday shows that we kind of bring it up to talk about it. But this isn't that kind of platform. And we're not a podcast. Everyone keeps saying we're a podcast. I'm trying to address it. We're not a podcast. Please stop saying we're a podcast. It's not a podcast. If we wanted a podcast, we'd release a podcast, and I'll tell you the podcast name is X, and that would be the podcast. I just mentioned political, and we're talking about the wars and whatnot. And during one of the streams, one of the Alpha Wednesday episodes, I raised a question of, like, there's been a lot of money that's been donated and harvested and for Palestine and the children of there and just the people of Palestine. And I had a question. I'm like, I know you can't get anything in there. You can't get there's no money being transported. You can barely get aid in there. They had to air flight some Cheerios for people because they got it locked down. So I kept asking, where is the money going? And, like, are they just using this money to go fund protests? Because after they got all that money, now we see massive scales of protests that happened. Did that money go to protesting? I don't know. I'm not here to say, like, accusing anybody of where the money went. I raised a question about a month or two ago. Where's all the money going? A part of this platform, you hear us talking about the conflict in Palestine and Israel, right? And we're very open about our opinions about it. We're very like biased about our standpoints. We can't really be objective in this kind of context. We try to, but in reality, it's going to be tough for us to do, or the people that you see on the platform, like me, Alpha, and a lot of others, AZ. A good example of it is, like, we have family overseas that got displaced from Gaza, and now they're in Egypt. So this is a GoFundMe link. We're gonna post this in the video, and this money is gonna go directly to this family. The family that we know that have to start a brand new life right now in Egypt. They lost all their clothes, their house, everything they ever owned, it's gone. Okay, that's just one factor. Now a factor is now they got to go to Egypt and start a new life, and they have nothing. So I'm donating to this because I know for a fact that the money is going to go to the people that are on the screen right now. A family in need who needs it, who's close to me. And at that point, that's why when we have these conversations, you have to look at it like who are you hearing the information from? You're hearing it from this side, and we're openly say that we're biased about this, and we have that. We never with any violence or any sort of hatred. We don't do any of that, but we're open with our opinions. We're not afraid to say our opinions about this topic. As much as the algorithm might suppress us or whatnot, let's stick to what we are. This has been. People think this started October 7th. For us, this has been our entire life. I've never had a point in my life where this topic wasn't a topic of the same exact context. It's never been. It wasn't like October 7th happened and all of a sudden Palestinians started getting abused, bombed, and segregated against. It was not October 7th that started it. Maybe a lot of people, they caught the headwaves, and that's when they start talking about it. But understand, over here, the reason why it gets brought up, because this is a topic that we grew up with. It's always been a part of my life, always will be a part of my life. So that's where we stand on it. And right now, like I said, we're going to donate to this GoFundMe to a family that got affected. And now they're displaced in Egypt and got to start a brand new life. So I'm going to do this offline. I'm not going to do it here because I have to put my payment information and things like that. But I'm going to donate for sure if I say I'm going to do it. But we're going to put this link in. People can donate about it. And, I saw what I try not to be on my phone and seeing the social media news. And I saw what happened in Rafah this weekend. And it just was like, I couldn't even, it ruined my Sunday. It ruined my Monday. Seeing those, I've seen so much of the image growing up that I just like, I got so like numb to that kind of stuff, but it's still painful at the same time. I try not to even look at that stuff right now because I know what's going on. I know what's happening. I see it a lot, but when I saw that stuff, it killed me. It crushed me, So, for everybody saying, I saw, they announced it was like a mishap, and they're just saying it's so passive. It's just distasteful, and it just shows you people's tones about Arabs and Muslims and Arabs and Christians. Because at the end of the day, there are many Christians that are from Palestine, and there are many Christians who are Arabs in the Middle East, many of them. This isn't a Muslim thing, okay? This is an Arab thing. This country has branded Arabs as unlikable, and to the point where it's okay to see this kind of stuff because we deserve it, essentially. The representation, we deserve it, and if we didn't do this, they're gonna go and there's another talking point that they love saying, well, if Israel dropped all their guns, then Hamas would come and blow their heads up. Why? It's so easy for them to say that, and it's so illogical and it's unfair to say that in that premise. Anybody who lives in Palestine now, who is in Gaza now, who's there, you have to understand something. They have lived in Israel for their entire life. I doubt there's anybody 70 or 80 years old still left there. I highly doubt it, who stayed there from the beginning of 48 till now. For everybody who's on the other side, think of something. You came to this country, you took it over, you claim it's your land, and you want to be your land. All these people who are doing this, you created this. These are your people now who you guys raised, who you guys fed, and you guys, all of that is a direct correlation of how people were treated. That's the truth about it. That's the truth. Like I said, the standpoint of saying that they're like some kind of warriors or they're protecting themselves because if they didn't they're gonna blow them up. It's never been the case until they started getting their heads blown off on a generational basis. If every 10 years you're wiping out a new generation of people, and now we're in 2024. What do you think the mentality of these people who are there are going to be? Did you guys fail the Arab Muslims? Did you fail the Arab Christians in Israel? Did you fail them? Did you give them the same rights that all Israelis had? Did you give them the same rights that they did? Were they allowed to go to school? Did they have passports? Were they allowed to leave? Did they get the same amount of food? This is your country, right? The best tech country, all this X, Y, and Z. They have all this funding. They say the Silicon Valley of the Middle East. You're so proud to say all these Iron Dome, all this stuff you guys have. But the people were not only neglected, they were abused. When you see these things happening and you raise them, who's then to blame? How are you going to now shift and try to gaslight because Arabs are so unlikable in the eyes of every other Western person that it's just unfair at points where it's like, I told everyone when we talk about this, we can't go too much longer. When we talk about this, watch our tone, watch our delivery, and nobody say anything violent or anything that's you want to say terrorist or is whatever word you want to brand us with. Don't say that word, because it's never been more important as an Arab Christian, as an Arab Muslim. Be likable, okay? Be very likable in your delivery and your approach to this, because they don't like us. And after this week, when we see what we see, as we saw what happened, another brutal attack where they tell them, hey, this is a safe area to go. There's some tents over there. Go stay in the tents. To a mishap happening and 55 people burning alive. And they were told, mind you, this is key because it's key because they always say, well, we guys knock on your doors and call the phones when we're about to blow it up. We tell you guys. That's what they say. Now, I'm not going to edit any of this. This is the last week of the stream. Like I said, this platform at the end of the day, it's a very peaceful platform. It's a show. We have our biases and we're open about them, and then we're objective on a lot of other things. We're even objective on this if we have somebody who's going to give us some good criticism about it. But as far as everything else, like I said, this is a peaceful platform. I don't want to go too hard on this. We're not going to edit it because we're going to just end it, post it up, and then whatever it is. We're going to donate up here. We're going to put this link in there, and you guys can donate if you want. The link's going to be in the bio. And let's see if we'll have the Betabot. Hey, Betabot, we're going to give us something on a lighthearted note to end on.
Here's something lighthearted to wrap up. Folks, amidst all the serious discussions and intense debates, it's always good to remember to take a moment to smile and appreciate the little things. Did you know that the inventor of the Frisbee was turned into a Frisbee after he died? Just a reminder that even in the game of life, we all need to have a bit of stay positive, stay curious, and keep those good vibes going.
All right, Betabot, thanks for that one. So that was good. We're gonna end on that good note. And then we got Alpha Wednesdays tomorrow. We're gonna end on the good note. So this is technically ended. But like I said last week, we addressed the whole, the situation that we're under, and I said we got to be careful with the negative thoughts and negative momentum, because that'll carry through other aspects. And it's a show that we do, but we're gonna do the Vader right now.
You crave power, yet you cower in the shadows of your own doubt. You lust for dominance, yet you flinch at the mere whisper of opposition. Cut off your insignificant emotions, as I shall impart unto you the uncompromising creed of the Sith. Crush all who dare to challenge you. Leave no room for mercy, for it is a weakness that will be exploited. Rise, and let the screams of your enemies fuel your ascent. Embrace the darkness within you, for it is your most potent weapon. Tear down those who stand in your path, leaving naught but ruins in your wake. Believe in your own invincibility, for doubt is a poison that will consume you from within. Let the rivers run red with the blood of your adversaries. Take grip of your destiny, and let none defy you, for you are the ultimate source of destruction, the embodiment of unrelenting power.
All right, Alpha Wednesdays tomorrow, everybody. We got a big show. We're going to start an hour earlier than normal. I'm probably going to be on before, talk for an hour, and then the panel will jump on. But we're going to end it right now, and everybody have a good night. And we're going to keep that link in the description.